I'm Rosie Hardy and this is Rosie Hardy Gardening. Today I am going to be talking about alliums and just showing you the difference between those alliums that you buy as bulbs and those alliums which are more like a garlic and therefore are a perennial form. They are ones you divide. These ones are ones that you plant the bulbs every year to get you more increased numbers in the garden. So let's have a look and see what we've got, and they can come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes, different leaves. Allium Christopheri, which is one of the really beautiful ones, which has a seed head, because obviously it's not in flower at the moment, but it comes up like this and then it's going to flower with this amazing, almost like a firework type head in lilac. So that is one of the ones which is a bulb, and you can get them as the bulbs and then they grow very nicely, or you can have them containerized like this. The roots are coming out beautifully here. No roots at the top because the bulb is in the center there. Now the bulbs on these are probably something around about the size of a golf ball. You can get other alliums that you would grow, these ones known as the giant chive or Allium sphaerocephalon, and again you've got this wonderful lovely white root in here, and I'll just open it up so that you can see how these are growing and what they have actually come from, because these are a much smaller bulb. There we go, much smaller bulb, and we normally put 5 in a pot. And these will seed around, they make lovely plants, their flower heads are going to be much higher. As soon as you start working with the alliums, you get that onion smell. So that one. Then you can get ones which get up really tall, like this particular one here. This is Mont Blanc. The bulbs on this are really quite huge. And for a cracking one for later on in the season, this is a mid-season one, this is Ambassador. The flower heads are this sort of size, so they are really big, deep purple. And the bulbs on these are absolutely huge. So again, you've got this lovely growth here at the bottom, but look at the size of the bulb that is growing from. Really big in comparison to the ones that I showed you earlier, which are these little ones. So tiny, almost the size of a shallot, big, the size of an onion. So you get different types of flower head on the different types of bulb alliums that you are growing. So these ones would have been the Mount Everest. These ones, probably another white flowered one, and then that is the cristophii. Now these are just dried seed heads. This is the other beauty of the allium. You can dry the seed heads and they look fantastic for dried arrangements, etc. Or you can leave them on the plants as well. So these are ones that you would buy bulbs every year in the autumn. You could plant them outside, or if you're not happy with planting them outside, you can put them into containers like this, and as soon as you see them putting their heads on, because they start to put on their growth quite early in the spring and come up through, flower for you brilliantly, and then die back down again. Okay, I've repotted those. Let's talk about the perennial forms. Not saying that the bulb ones are not perennial. The bulbs will come back year after year, but to get a really good show, you need to annually put in a few more each year so that you can get that mass display. With the perennial types, like this, you can see that the leaf is slightly different than the leaf on these. One, it's much more rounded at the end, and it comes from basal pieces like this, and you can see that they are plants that you can actually split up and move. This one is a little dwarf one, and that's as tall as its flower gets. Tiny little round flower on that one. That one is senescens. And then these two I've got here, you can see that the leaf is slightly different tone. This one is Millennium, much greener in its foliage. This one is Lavender Bubbles, and this one's got a grey foliage. Now the flowers on these are slightly shorter and smaller than you would get on these bulb type ones, But because they produce masses of them, you get a really good show off one plant. And this is the height that you'd expect of these. So when you look into the plant itself, and it's probably easier on this one to have a look at the actual way that the plant is growing. Right, let's take a look at the growth habit of these more perennial types, and they're all very, very similar. You've got the good, lovely white root at the base, but you can see it's coming from the top here. It's not just at the bottom. You have the leaflets, and each one going down its stem and going down to a swollen base at the bottom there. This means that you can actually split these off as individuals. If you see this particular one here, if I just do this, it all splits up. See, you can split it up there. That is how it would split it. One piece there, one piece there, one piece there. You've got 3 new plants. So with these, you're able to split them up, which means that you don't have to go out and buy them all the time. So you are reproducing your own plants that way. The leaf comes up in the spring at around about the same time as the leaf on the bulb forming ones. They are just about semi-evergreen, but you do have a period through the middle of the winter when we've got hard frost and snow around, when the leaf does disappear completely. And then up they pop. They look fantastic until they flower, and these are later midsummer to autumn flowering, which extends the period of which your alliums are out. Beautiful flowers which the insects and pollinators absolutely adore. Thank you very much for watching, and please do subscribe to the channel.